my big beautiful babies, it's Meghan Tonjes. You're watching People Keep Talking, the show where we talk about news and trends throughout the week. I know you missed me. I sensed it, I felt it, I bathed in it, because you know what a Scorpio loves? To haunt people that don't fucking appreciate them enough. I mean, would I feel more appreciated if you became Patreon BBs in 2019 and checked out these new projects that I'm working on and supported me, you know, having a roof over my head? Yes, I would. But you know what? You bought this cup of coffee today, so thank you. Listen, sometimes I take a little break because this show gets to be a lot, especially when I was doing it daily and every other day was like a shooting or just Donald Trump existing, and a lot of that has continued. So you know what? This is gonna be more of a weekly roundup situation for my self-care and my mental health, and also because I'm working on some really cool projects that actually are gonna take me entire months to film, and new music. So that's the trade-off. But I will say that if you have been missing me, there are a few things you can do. Number one, you should follow me on Instagram. I am on Instagram stories like all of the time. Like, it has become a running joke now that when you log into Instagram and you check out my story, it's not even dashes, it's dots. I also started another podcast. So of course, Adventures in Roommating is still a thing, still happens every week. But I started a new podcast with my friend Michelle called No Lies Detected. It is a show about the lies you tell yourself and the truths you need to know. It is so funny, and I say that as someone who, like, I legitimately, when I'm editing it, I can't even listen to it all the way through because I am too empathetic and I'm laughing in the exact same way I did when it happened. So if you want to feel joy, I highly recommend checking those things out.
The reason why I don't like cell phones is because I don't like people calling me whenever they want to. Fucking Sagittarius. I don't like that. I get so mad.
I want you to know that you're not going to get to me on your fucking time. You're going to get to me on my time and or the gatekeepers that I have solicited for that fucking job.
That's right.
So if you say something to my husband and he doesn't tell me, clearly it's because he doesn't think I should be fucking hearing from you.
Exactly.
And I trust him.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that podcast, every Wednesday I do Q&As and I give advice and I give motivation over on Instagram stories. But I'm gonna start making that a daily thing, in the fact that I'm going to ask you every day to send in your questions, your problems, your whatever the fuck it is that you're dealing with. And in 15 seconds or less, I'm going to fix your life. I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to know. I'm gonna ask you the questions you need to be asking yourself, and it's gonna be a goddamn soundbite, okay? It's gonna be a quotable, snappy Tonjes. That's me. Oh, good. Was my car running the entire time that I did that? Good. I'm sure that will be great for the sound. I basically wanted to jump on here today to talk about a few different things that I just feel like people are fucking up. Something in my spirit just says that a lot of you need help with PR and growing the fuck up. So that's what I'm here for. The first thing I want to talk about is Kevin Hart. I have never seen anyone go on such a lengthy and ridiculous non-apology apology tour. If you don't know, Kevin Hart got called out before he was going to host the Oscars of some old tweets, some old jokes that he's made. So I guess the Academy asked him to apologize before he went forward to host it, and Kevin decided, nah, I'm not apologizing anymore. I've said enough. And then he has continued to remind us of that in every single interview that he definitely hasn't set up and his PR company definitely didn't work on. I've talked in the past in other videos about being problematic, how all of us have been or are going to be problematic at some point, and how this becomes such a huge issue, especially on the internet, where everyone is discovering the things that we did for the first time, and we are stuck in this vortex of having to constantly explain ourselves, apologize, and be competing with our past selves. How can we grow? How can we change? How can we be held accountable and hold ourselves accountable while also giving ourselves the time and the space to actually change? So there's a lot of interesting conversations to be had, and I know that everyone has a very different viewpoint on if we should even be looking at old tweets and what we think about cancel culture. Kevin has basically made it this back and forth war with the LGBT community as to how they can't just be happy for him, how they can't just accept the vision board of his life where he was going to host the Oscars, and that because of that, he in a huff and in a little temper tantrum is not going to explain himself anymore. While I can understand the frustration of people looking at something you said or did and you internally knowing that you have changed or that you feel differently or that you've taken the criticism on board, then why is that the loudest car in the fucking world? The DeLorean just drove past me. Would it really be my first day back if I didn't have technical difficulties and had to film the rest of this on my phone? No. Here's the thing. Comedians constantly are crossing lines and crossing boundaries, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Not everything you say is evergreen content. Depending on the times, depending on who's looking back at it, depending on what we know and how that changes, and how we treat people in society and how that changes, and what is acceptable and what is not, 20 years later, or in this case, like 5 years later, it changes. A lot of people like to throw comedian on things and say, oh, I can say whatever I want now because I'm a comedian. It's the same way with people saying, I have talent on the internet. It's not, just because you say it doesn't mean it's fucking true. What's confusing to me is that you have these celebrities that have so much money and have entire PR teams and people telling them how to navigate situations in a way that upholds who they are as a creator, as an artist, while also not fucking up their money. Whoever's in charge of Kevin Hart's PR either is awful at what they do, or Kevin's just not listening to them. And truly, if you're not gonna listen to your PR and you're gonna continue to say the things you're gonna say, I'm fine with you going about that because it just highlights and showcases who you really are and how you really feel, and that's fine. And some people will fuck with you and some people won't. Here's some free PR advice. Here's something that Kevin should have said. First of all, I'm sorry. Apologies are great when they start off like that. I look back at the comments that I've made, the jokes that I've told, and I don't feel the same way that I did. You know, in particular, when I talk about how I would basically beat my child if I came home and he was gay. That might be one of them. I continue to grow and change as a person, and I hope to show that through my art and through my efforts. There are jokes and comments and things that I've done and said that aren't going to stand the test of time, and I'm committed to being a better person. And I look forward to being able to show you all how I have grown as a person and how that has made me an even better comedian. And then start punching up and not punching down. The thing is, when we talk about how PC culture has like ruined everything and no one can make a joke and everyone's so sensitive now. Okay, yeah, people can be more sensitive about things, but the reality is that a lot of these feelings have been around for a long time. You just weren't listening to those groups of people and how they felt because they weren't honored in any kind of way, and they weren't put on a pedestal in any kind of way, and they didn't have access to the platforms that a lot of people who have controlled the narrative for a long time have. I promise you, there were people that heard those jokes when they came out and were like, I don't fuck with Kevin Hart. But now people have Twitter accounts, and other people who have never thought about that perspective can say, hey, never thought about it like that. Oh, that is kind of shitty, and their minds can be changed. If the hill you want to die on is making shitty homophobic jokes, then die on that hill. Let me know below in the comments what you think. Do you think that Kevin is going about this the right way, the wrong way? How would you approach this if old tweets of yours came out and they didn't align with who you are? I've literally talked about this in a video and how I absolutely have old tweets that are so, it's like you look back and you're like, I don't remember writing that. I don't even remember the person that I was when I wrote that. But part of accountability is understanding that, yeah, I did that. That does not align with who I am now. And when you're actually sorry for something, you don't care if you have to address it. There are ways to address it that shouldn't be taxing to you, and you should be okay with because you understand the message of it. But you have to take away that ego, and you have to stop being so sensitive about your creation that you can't understand the implications beyond it, and then pivot, adjust, move, adapt. It's not that fucking hard. But let me know below in the comments if I'm completely off base, if you think that he's doing the right thing. Do you think that my hair looks cute? You know, questions you need to answer. You can find me, Meghan Tonjes, on most things. Again, please check out No Lies Detected and Adventures in Roommating over on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, all of those fun places. If you need advice or there are topics that you wish I were making videos about, things that you want to hear my perspective on, you can email me at asktonjes@gmail.com, or you can leave it below in the comments. I will also accept that. Ooh, I'm just flashing you finger tattoos. What? All right, I got places to go. I got people to touch. I like your faces very much, and I will see you soon. Bye.